The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody out there listening to my show, all aboard. My name is Donald Whisman. Well, actually, it's my show and Joe McFarland's show, Mr. Mojo, and we got a special guest tonight, Les Skymo. He's a good guy. He does a show on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. called Unscheduled. If you want to tune in and listen to Les' show tomorrow night, feel free to. Him and the Dave, they do a pretty good show every week. They go live on Facebook. And as always, I want to send my prayers out to all the men and women serving in our military. I want to say thank you to all of our country's veterans. Also tonight, I want to pray for everybody down there on the East Coast getting ready to get hit by Hurricane Florence. I just hope y'all, who's ever staying, I hope you're ready for it. It looks like it's going to get pretty bad down there, Les and Joe.
Yeah, I'd be out there, brother.
Just some things people play. It's like playing with fire, and just like Katrina. You guys remember that one, don't you? And,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people get killed. It's just nothing to play with, those hurricanes. And I'm sure they've weathered these things before. I mean, it is hurricane season. We've got some more storms out there. But this one's looking big, you guys. It looks like it may turn into a Category 5 before Thursday.
Yeah, it could, man. I don't understand. I mean, in a way I understand trying to ride these things out, but boys, I tell you, Mother Nature can be a powerful force.
Well, Joe, Les, tonight's kind of a special show a little bit, I guess. Today is the 17th anniversary of 9/11 when our country was cowardly attacked, and I want to say cowardly attacked. It was an act of evil, and I know there's a lot of people out there, these conspiracy theorists, that believe our government had something to do with that, and those buildings were imploded, but I don't believe that. Until I get positive. I form my own opinions, Joe and Les. I form my own opinions. I'm not part of that sheep herd mentality or the herd mentality. I'm not part of that. I'm a self-thinker. I form my own opinion. What do you guys think about that attack in 9/11, 17 years ago? Now, Joe, I know you're young. You were probably, 4 or 5 when it happened?
Something like that, yeah. I can barely remember it, but I do remember it.
Well, Les, what do you think about these cowards that attacked our country 17 years ago?
Well, let me say this, Donald. There's a lot of places that I've been over the years I can't remember. But now I remember the day, Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. I was going into work, and I met a woman, a co-worker, outside the door, and first thing out of her mouth was, "Did you hear that a plane hit the White House?" It just had happened.
Right.
Information, nobody really had the whole story.
Nobody knew what was really happening, did they, Les? I mean, we didn't.
People was guessing at everything. America was in a panic. Donald, I watched them planes hit them buildings with my own eyes. These conspiracy theorist people, they just stir this crap up.
Right there, Les, you hit a good point. And Joe, chime in any time, but Les, wasn't there people on them planes making phone calls to their loved ones? I mean, they know what happened. I mean, there's so many people that, the government had that set to implode and all this and that. I refuse to believe that. We were attacked by these. I'm gonna call it what it is. If it's a duck, It looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck. It's a duck. They were Muslim, radical, Islamic terrorists. These people, I tell you what, they don't belong in this country. Their religion doesn't belong in this country. I know the First Amendment gives them a right to do that, but I think if our founding fathers thought about it just a little bit more, if they could have seen in the future, I know they wouldn't time travelers. I mean, they were just men. They didn't know what these Muslims was going to do later on. But Les, I was reading last night. I was trying to look up some stuff about the Quran. I don't really want to know about it, but I just want to know a little bit about it. And I called you last night, Les, and
Right.
it says in that Quran that if you believe in the book, now they're referring to the Bible, you're going to go to hell. Now, this is a country, Les. America is one nation, under one God, under one flag, Les. Our founding fathers, like I've said many times before, most of them were Christians. Our money says, "In God we trust." Our national anthem says, God in it. So what is this with these people? And 17 short years later, we've got these people that worry about offending Muslims over having ceremonies today and stuff. I don't get it. I don't like it, and I don't care nothing about these Muslim people. President Trump himself has tried to put travel bans time after time, but you got these appellate court judges that keeps watering down this travel ban. They're trying to shut his wall down. That man is trying to keep another 9/11 from happening in this country. But it'll be worse next time if we don't act now, Les and Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not really big on bashing a religion. I mean, if the Christian religion believes the same thing, if you don't believe in Christianity, then you're going to hell. So, I mean, I don't really like bashing a whole religion. I will 100% agree that Islam needs to be reformed, and that the more radical believers should not be allowed to practice their more radical beliefs if they violate our laws. And I mean, talking about 9/11, and it's going to happen again, and it's going to get worse. I mean, it already kind of did happen again in Benghazi.
Well, yeah, there's four people died that day, but Joe and Les could probably fill us in more on this. I don't believe, now I haven't read the Bible from cover to cover. Les knows that, I should, but I don't think anywhere in our Bible it says that people who believe in the Quran is going to burn in hell. I don't think it says that, does it, Les?
Well, let me this is my view on this now.
Let's hear your view, Les. Let's hear it.
Idol worship has been around for a long, long time. Okay, and everybody has always believed in something. Okay, and then we come from somewhere. We just didn't show up one day on the scene. But when you read the Quran, I haven't read the whole Quran.
Me neither.
I've read parts of it.
Well, you got to know your enemy, right, Les? I think they're our enemy.
Well, here's the thing. When you read the Quran, it's easy, very easy to tell that it's a perverted view, twist. It's a rewrite from an egotistical psychopath of the Bible. There's stories in the Quran that are similar to the Bible, that are Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Solomon. They consider them all prophets. The Muslims believe they did exist.
There's Jesus in the Quran. I mean, did you say Jesus?
Jesus.
Yeah.
But he was considered a prophet. They think God has no co-equal, like we believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Well, who is their God? Is it Muhammad? Allah?
No, Muhammad was a prophet. Allah was their God.
So Muhammad was equal to Jesus in their eyes.
Well, he was the same as Jesus. He was a prophet. Now, in the year 610, Muhammad, which was the last prophet, he started getting these, he said he started getting these messages from Gabriel. Now, we know Gabriel's in the King James.
Ain't that an archangel?
He's an archangel. He starts getting these instructions and these revelations from this archangel. And then in 622, he goes into Medina, and he starts preaching this. By then, he's already got his got all this stuff laid out in the Quran, got all this stuff written down, documented, and so people start latching on to it, and it spread really quick. And Muhammad, he died in 632. But now here's the thing about it. Like I said, when you read the Quran, you will find out that it is a twisted version of the Bible.
All right, Les. Now the Bible, there's a difference to me. This word infidel. We don't, our Bible, the King James Version, doesn't talk about infidels, does it? I mean, if you're not a Christian, you're our enemy? Does it say anything in our Bible like that?
The equivalent to an infidel in the King James Version Bible would be a heathen. Now,
A heathen.
A heathen. Yep. And the word.
My mom used to call me that when I was bad. You little heathen, you.
Yeah, that was a hillbilly word, brawler word.
Yeah, heathen.
But now that was a non-believer. That was an idol worshiper, somebody that never believed in a living God. And but now here's the thing about it. Now, you look at any other religion, okay, that come along after Christ. The Quran and Muhammad, they never come on the scene until somewhere around 589 years after the crucifixion of Christ. Christ was crucified somewhere between 30 and 33 A.D.
So it's a new religion. It's a newer religion.
It's the world's newest religion.
But it's also the world's fastest growing religion, they said, Les.
It is, yeah. And but you look at any religion that I know of, there's consequences, okay, for not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Now, here's what makes Islam not a religion. Islam is an ideology, okay. Islam is...
Les, you break up, buddy.
Our family, over their family, over society, over the state, over where you go, what you do. It is total control by the imams of your entire life. It's perverted. Now, you got two different types of Muslims. You got the Sunni Muslim, and you got the Shiite Muslim.
The Shiites, which is, yeah, I could say another word. It's what I always reminds me of, but I won't say it. But yeah, it's a funny word. I know it's a funny. To me, it's a funny word. Shiite. I say it's another word, but anyway, but it's a to me, it's a perverted version.
It's
well,
an ideology. It is
all
not
right.
a religion.
Remember, once I asked you a question, and Joe, you want to chime in on this, you can too, about Christianity. Remember, you said that was not a religion. It is your relationship with God. You remember that? Christianity's not a religion, right?
Christianity people coin it as a religion. Christianity is a relationship with God. But now, there's a major difference between Christianity and all your other major religions. And it's based on a relationship with a living God.
Les, can they take any religion, though, and radicalize any religion? I mean,
all religions have their radicals.
Even the Christian, they can take the Bible and radicalize our Bible.
Well, sure, it's done all the time.
And Les, I'm gonna tell you, Joe, chime in here, Joe. Come on now. You said that you don't like really attacking another religion, Joe. Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't really want to chime in on the religious debate.
I mean, all right. Well, you're an American, Joe, and I respect your opinion. I respect everybody. I don't go unfriend people because they have a different opinion than me. I'm not like that. But I'll tell you, these liberals, you got a different opinion than them, you're going to get cussed out. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. I'll welcome anybody's opinion. You know what I mean?
Well, Donald, here's the thing now, just real quick. Here's the major difference between what is constitutionally acceptable.
Well, I know. I said the First Amendment. Remember that?
Okay, but the First Amendment don't give you the right to molest children. It
Well,
does
that's
not
true,
give you
yeah.
the right to block our streets. It does not give you the right for you to play that prayer and disturb everybody in your community. It does not give you the right to honor, kill your children. It does not give you the right to come over here and burn America down
and treat women like dogs.
Exactly. So that's an ideology, Donald. That is not a religion. That's and it falls in the same category of communism.
So on this show tonight, we're just going to basically say that Muslim, the Quran, it is not a religion. It is, like you said, it's an ideology.
It's an ideology.
I'll agree with you on that.
I'll call it what they want, but it's not. You look at the Christian. You look at after the birth of Christ. And you look and see it teaches love. It teaches acceptance. It don't teach condone things, okay, but it teaches you to treat people as they're human beings and to love people and to be there and, you know, if they...
Well, Les, I've never seen...
I accept everything, but I don't go around killing people because
that's what I was going to say. I've never seen, what was it? Was it 16 hijackers? I've never seen 16 Christians jump in airplanes and run them in buildings to kill people in the name of God. I've never seen that happen. Some of that stuff might have happened back in the Crusade era, you know, with the Crusaders, you know,
vicious time in history.
That was, but now, I mean, I couldn't see a man who believes in God try to kill in the name of God. I mean, with planes, try to attack a whole country in the name of God, and I think they did it in the name of Allah or Muhammad. I don't know, Les. I really don't know much about that stuff.
Well, you know, we've got the right to believe what we want to believe, but we don't have the right to go around and force my religion or my opinions down your throat. I have no constitutional right to do that at all.
Les, what year was you born in, if you don't mind me asking on this show?
1956.
All right. Well, this happened before you was even alive, but I've always watched. I'm fascinated with history, Les. I'll never forget. I wasn't born. What was it? Franklin Roosevelt. He made a speech. It was that famous speech where he said December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. To me, 2001, or September 11th, 2001, to me, is a date which will live in infamy. And I will never forgive or forget what those cowards done to our country that day. I will never forgive them, Les. I can't, Les. And Les, I know what I saw when I came home that day on TV, and they tried to say there wasn't any footage. I seen them showing people in Middle Eastern countries cheering and celebrating them planes going in those buildings, and that going into the Pentagon. That one, I know one plane landed in a field there. They said they downed it down. The passengers did. But just to me, Les, America, buddy, we're tough. I mean, we've been through a lot of stuff. America, she's tough. I'm proud to be an American brother. I'm proud to support Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, now, Joe, I do want you to chime in on this. This morning, I got tagged into something. It was a tag. They tagged me, and somebody's been texting me on Messenger, and they're talking about this Q stuff, all right? Now, I'm not going to say nothing bad about Q or good because I don't know nothing about QAnon or QAnon. I don't know nothing about it, okay? But they're trying to say that Vice President Mike Pence is a pedophile. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think about Mike Pence, our Vice President. When I see that man, I see a humble man. I see a Christian man, a man with 3 children and a wife, and I'm just not going to believe that he's a pedophile because somebody named Q or whatever this Q stuff says. I'm not following the herd. I'm not part of that herd, Les.
Yeah, I don't know what the Q is either, but I mean, yeah, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that just as much as I don't believe all these allegations against Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan, talk about that a little bit. What is that about?
I know for the past couple months, they've been trying to say, because he used to coach wrestling at Ohio State University, I think. And for the past couple months, they've had a scandal going on there where one of the other coaches was, I think, abusing his wife or something. Or no, it was one of the doctors who worked there was abusing some of the wrestlers, and some kids made some allegations against Jim Jordan that he knew about all these abuses and didn't tell anybody about it. And that's been the biggest story in the news now about how Jim Jordan's just a horrible person.
Well, there's so many sex scandals going on anymore. That's all you hear about is scandal this, scandal that, scandal this, sex. I'm tired of hearing about it. I mean, I'm not the judge. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not the executioner. You know what I'm saying? I really don't get into all that stuff. I mean, just like you said, you don't get into the religion stuff. And everybody out there that's listening, by the way, Les is a preacher. Les Skymo is a preacher. And Les knows way more about God than I do. I do believe in God. I do believe that Jesus Christ died on that cross for our sins. I do believe in God, but I'm just not as far as Les is with my relationship with God. But I do believe in God, and I do believe God created man. He didn't create a monkey. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, Donald. You know, people, you got the right to believe in the Bible if you do, if you don't. Okay, that has no effect on me and my relationship with God. All right, but look at it like this. What kind of God would it be if there was no instruction book on how to know what God He is, who He is, if you know what to expect of a living God? Imagine a world if there was no instruction on how to put your kid's swing set together, or how to it would be like a puzzle. You're guessing at it. You're trying to figure it out. You're stumbling through life. You're unconnected to reality. And that's what the Bible is. It's an instruction book on how to get to know a living God and what He expects out of us as created beings. That's all that is, the way to know God. Now, you can take your chances, and you can die, and try to negotiate your way out.
I don't think there's no negotiating, Les. I think it's already written. What do you think?
Like I said, it is written, brother. Now, like I said, I'm not going to try to make you believe that.
Right. And that's what attracts me to you, Les. I know you're a preacher, but you do not push your religion on other people. You don't push it on people. But I will tell you what I believe. Now, if people get mad at me, are you mad at me because I believe it, or are mad at, or well, they can unfriend you
for writing at it?
Well, if they get mad at you, Les, for believing in what you believe in, and they don't need to be your friend anyway.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Don't get mad at me for believing what somebody else wrote. I mean, your argument ain't with me. Your argument's with God Almighty or the author who wrote it. So, I mean, we can be friends, but, that's just how it is.
Joe, I'm not Joe. I don't want Joe to think I'm a hater. Joe, I hate what they do. I hate what them people do, how they believe. I hate just what, their actions. I don't like it, Les. Joe, I just don't like this Muslim religion or this ideology, whatever we want to call it.
Islam is incompatible with the Constitution.
Absolutely. Amen, brother, to that. And I'll tell you something. If nobody believes in God, they had a September 11th ceremony today in Minnesota, and they had some fire trucks. And I'll tell you, I don't know how odd it is. Tell me there ain't nothing up there or out there, but a bald eagle landed on top of that fire truck today on that bucket. Now, how often would that happen? I mean, the symbol of America, the bald eagle. And you tell me, I've never seen a bald eagle out in public. I've never seen one in Ohio. I don't know about Minnesota, but a bald eagle landed on top of a fire truck today.
Right, yeah. No,
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was pretty awesome too.
And
yeah.
Les, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you had more to say.
Things like subtle things like that. There's more to it than what meets the eye, Donald.
There's a reason for everything, Les. I do, and I don't want it. There's a lot of people that believe, oh, when you die, you're just dead. I don't want to believe that. I want to believe. I want to go and be with my loved ones after I'm dead. I don't want to just die and, well, I don't want to go to hell, but I don't want to be dead and just be into nothingness. You know what I mean?
If I thought this was all for nothing, I wouldn't want to live at all.
Well, a lot of people.
I would be the wildest man.
Well, they believe we come from a primordial bowl of soup. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, I'll tell you another thing about God in this country, and it just happened here a couple days ago. I don't even know if it's maybe yesterday. In Louisiana, there was this high school, and they had painted in the end zone. I sent it to you, Joe. It had the word Christ in there, and it had a cross on it. Now, they told them kids to go paint over the word Christ and cover that cross up. And they refused to. They just left. And why would a high school not want Christ's name in the end zone? You want to talk about that, Joe, a little bit?
Yeah, I saw that. And, I mean, at first I was kind of on the fence about it. It's their school. They can do what they want. They're a public school. They're run by the government. They're not really supposed to be pushing any religious agenda.
It should be by the state, though, Joe, that school. It
What
should be run by the state. I mean, that's how our...
Well, that's the government, though,
Well,
right?
our state government, not federal. I don't know. Oh, God,
Yeah.
my thing's telling me I don't know. My computer's acting up. But go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so then I read down more, and I guess the owner of that company was talking about how they have a signed contract, and he paid $3,500 to get that. Yeah, to get that advertisement down there. So I mean, if they have a contract, they should have to honor it.
I just get mad. I mean, it's like it's just. I know you said that the government. It's a state government, but why? Why would they attack Christ or a cross? Why? I just don't understand this. What's so bad about... I guarantee you, though, Joe, I could almost bet you $100 bill if there would have been a crescent moon on the end zone, they wouldn't have said anything because they would have been afraid they'd offended some people.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it is very slanted on who they want to protect, and when they really shouldn't be protecting anybody.
And I know poor old Les, he don't like this Antifa group either, these crazies, but Les out in California now, at this fairgrounds, this Republican, this congressional guy, Joe, I sent this to you too, this madman started cussing this guy out and cussing about President Trump, and try to stab this guy as a Republican. And bless, these people have lost their frickin' minds. And your good buddy, old Maxine Waters, she said it again. For all these store owners, restaurant owners, gas station owners, run off anybody who works for President Trump. Run them off. Tell them they're not welcome at your business. She's at it again, Les. That to me is inciting violence.
And Donald,
Yeah,
people don't want religion in the government. People don't want religion in our schools.
Well, why is it on the money?
Happened? Look what's happened since God has been run out of every institution.
Oh, school shootings and
teenage suicides through the roof. You've got an out-of-control liberal government that's inciting violence. You've got Antifa running the streets. You've
knocking
got
over
drugs.
Yeah.
Just flooding in here and you don't want no God? Come on, America. You don't want no rules? You don't want no guidance from a higher power? I mean, this is a result of destroying what our country was founded on. I challenge anybody to explain to me how that without a living God, that 13 little ragtag colonies can defeat the greatest military
power in the world.
face of the
Absolutely.
earth.
Preach it, brother.
That's
Preach it.
humanly possible without the hand of God. You go back and you look at how just a little dingy boat that captured almost a whole British Navy.
Preach it, brother.
Without miracles, one after another, how that we defeated the greatest military navy and military and army on the face of this earth. How can anybody look at America's history and say there is no God? I challenge anybody.
I challenge them too. What do you think, Joe? Joe, me and you were talking about this the other day, and they said only 3% of the people lived in them colonies, 13 colonies, rose up against the British. Less 3% of the population.
Tell me how that's possible. It's humanly impossible.
Oh, but now
humanly impossible without the hand of God.
And another thing. Well, go ahead, Joe. I'm kind of leaving Joe out. Joe, come on, chime in on this. Sorry, Joe.
Butt in there on me.
Butt in, Joe.
That's okay. That's okay. On this one, I think I'm going to pass.
You want to pass? I'll tell you another thing. Tell me this, Les, or anybody. I'm not even going to give the number out because I ain't got my speaker tonight. But if anybody can answer this, they can answer it themselves. I don't care. The Democratic Party right now in this country, anybody out there, Les, Joe, what are they running on? Only thing I hear them running on is bashing their opponent or bashing our president. What platform are they running on in this country? Do they think they're going to win elections by bashing the greatest president? Oh, he'll probably go down in history as one of the greatest, I guarantee it. But that's all they're doing is bashing this man. And what are they running on? What are they going to do for their state or their community or the country? And no, they're not talking about what they're going to do. All they're talking about is Trump. That's all their whole platform is Trump.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. I mean, even Obama's out there running around bashing Trump.
Well, Les, Joe, I tell you, I pray for a lot of things every day. And one of my prayers, it may sound stupid, but one of my prayers is that a Democrat never becomes president again. That's one of my prayers, one of many. And I'm just telling you guys, we've got to make a decision in this up-and-coming midterm election. Les, Joe, if it was up to me, every Democrat that's running this year, I'd get rid of every daggone one of them. I can't say that everybody in the Republican Party is perfect angels because they're not, but I tell you, they got better values, better morals. They stand on better things, and the Democratic Party to me needs to disband. We don't need that party in this country no more, Les.
Well,
they're all out.
Go ahead, John.
One of the funniest things I find about it is, well, whenever they do go out and bash Trump, they always talk about how he's supposedly dividing and polarizing the country.
Oh, good thing you brought that. Good point. I'll say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their policies, I mean, by design, their policies polarize and divide. But I would argue that Trump's bringing people together like we've never seen before.
All right. We couldn't even have a Miss America, or no, it was a Miss America pageant. Now listen, well, I think it was Miss West Virginia. Now there's all these women come to run for Miss America, and they ask her a question. And Joe, I sent this to you too. Now Miss West Virginia, I think the question was I don't know,
What's the biggest problem facing?
Yeah, and what did she say? What did Miss West Virginia say?
She said Donald Trump.
And he's dividing this country. That is totally, that girl probably don't know nothing what Trump's done. She was probably, whatever, her mom or dad probably told her to say that. But they didn't, you know what? They only focused in on her. They didn't tell you about what the rest of the girls said, you know? They focused in on that because it was negative against our president. That made the story. The other girls' answers didn't make the story or the news.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's the spirit of Antichrist, man. That's all I can say. But let's get back to this.
Well, go ahead, bring it back, brother. Bring it back.
In Pearl Harbor, 9/11 was my generation and generations after me, like Joe and our children. That was our Pearl Harbor, Donald. And in Pearl Harbor, there was 232,335 people killed. There's 2,008 naval personnel, 109 Marines.
Horrible.
218 soldiers, Army personnel. There was 68 civilians. Now, the civilians made it a total of 2,403. And there was 1,177 that were on the USS Arizona.
Is that where the memorial's at right now, Les?
Yeah,
That goes over?
yeah,
Okay.
over in Hawaii.
Ain't some of them, hey, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but ain't some of those men's bodies still in those ships, Les?
Some of them still under, yeah.
Oh, gosh. I pray for them.
There was 1,143 that were wounded. That was 710 from the Navy, 69 Marines, 364 from the Army, and 103 civilians that was wounded. Now, as we know, 9/11 took more lives than Pearl Harbor. Not only that, people are dying today. Somebody got a parrot out there?
It's probably my chair. I think my chair's got a squeak in it. I need to oil it. But keep going, Les. You're on something good here. I like where you're going.
There was 2,977 actual victims died from the 9/11, and nearly 10,000 first responders and others on the site have been diagnosed with cancer. There have been over 2,000 deaths that have been linked to illness, the aftermath of that, Donald. And everybody that was involved in that, or 30% chance of higher, 30% higher than the general population of getting cancer. And they've linked around 70 different types of cancers.
You talking about from all that dust and stuff?
Yes, yes.
But a little bit less. I mean, come on. I know you wasn't alive when that took place during World War II, but the country's changed, Les and Joe.
Right.
I mean, I remember reading when we declared war on Germany and Japan. What did this country do? I know it was probably wrong, but they did it because we were strong in those days. We gathered up every Japanese citizen that was American citizens even, and we put them in camps because we were at war with Japan. Did we do that to the Muslims when they attacked our country, Les? No.
That was an overreaction. That shouldn't have been. That was unconstitutional on its face because them was American citizens.
They were, but Les, don't you think America was stronger though in them days? I mean, I know it might have been wrong, but that's what they thought was right at that time.
America had values. America had a clear vision of right and wrong. America did acknowledge the existence of God. And the ones that didn't, they respected the others for that. We didn't have the division religiously or in our society that we have. People was more moral people. You know, you don't have to go to church to be a moral person, Donald.
Well, to have values, stand for something, Les.
Right.
Got to stand for something in this life.
To our values, everything is gray. Everybody's rude. This technology has separated families.
Even voting for Trump has separated families.
Well,
you're just because you support a president, lest they want to. Your family members will disown you anymore.
That's been cooking for a long time, Donald, and that didn't just come up from Trump. Ever since the Democratic Party went communist. That's what took place right out of Saul Alinsky's book, Communism.
Rules for Radicals.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I ask both of you guys.
You're enemy of exactly what you're doing.
I want to ask you and Joe both, Les. I want you and Joe both to answer this question.
Yeah.
At what point in American history do you believe that we started changing over to this country where everybody's offended, all this political correctness started? At what point do you believe this began in our country? Under what president's administration?
We've always had some kind of division, but it was not like this. But I mean, there's always had disagreements, Donald. But in my lifetime, I think it happened under Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1964 with the Welfare Act.
So when we started getting really liberal, you believe
Vietnam protests and things like that.
people burning their cards, what was their draft cards?
And
Now,
nobody
okay,
was held accountable or prosecuted for their. Look at the Black Panthers. Look what they got away with.
oh gosh, what? I don't even want to go into that. But Joe, when do you think? You're younger than we are, but when do you think it began?
As far as becoming more socially liberal, I'd say Les is probably right around LBJ. But I think even more importantly, as far as becoming economically liberal, I'd say it probably started with FDR, and it's been spiraling downhill ever since.
I'm going to tell you guys the truth. It probably started back in those days, you guys, Bain, Johnson, but I think it just got out of control under Obama. I think it really skyrocketed when Obama became president. I know Clinton had something, he was there too. George Bush, I really wasn't that fond of George W. Bush. I really wasn't. Look at them now. They're buddying up with Obama. Yeah. You got both the Bushes. They love Obama and Bill Clinton, and they turn their back on our sitting president. I don't like that, you guys. You guys, both of you know. And I talked about this here a couple of days ago on a live video that Obama gave a speech here. I don't know, it might have been 4 or 5 days ago in Illinois, and he was trying to take credit for the economy doing good, and he was talking about that he killed, his administration, he had Osama bin Laden killed, but what he did, him and Hillary and the rest of their little minions, they sat in some secured building and watched it happen on a video. They wasn't over there. That was American soldiers, and Obama was trying to cut our military. He was bringing us down to nothing, less we couldn't have fought one war under his administration, let alone two. We're supposed to set it where this country is supposed to be able to fight 2 wars at any given time. But under the Obama administration, Les, I doubt if we could have fought 2 wars.
Well, that's what radical Muslims are trying to do, destroy this country. And he was trying to do it from the inside, inside. I think as Lincoln said that this country falls, it'll be from within.
From within, yes, that's what Lincoln said.
But now, getting back to Joe's point with FDR and all that, when we went off the gold standard and started borrowing money like a drunk sailor, this country started taking a dive.
Well, who brought in Social Security?
That was Wilson.
I believe that was FDR. It might have. I think Wilson was just as bad.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, that would have been a good program if it was done the way they set it up. The working man putting it in there, right. Work his whole life. It should have been somewhere where it had been drawing interest, but like we've talked about before, you got so many people drawing on money that we put in. I mean, I'm drawing it right now because I had cancer and it messed my legs up. I can't, but I did for 25, 26 years, 27 maybe. I don't remember. I started when I was like 13 or 14. You could get by with it in those days, Les. You couldn't do it nowadays, be young and work, but I did, Les. I went to work when I was a young boy, and I was poor, Les. I was poor. I couldn't help it, but I don't know. It's just the country's changed, and I can't save the world by myself, guys. I can't, and I've got to realize I can't change the world. I can try to open up. If I can open up one person's eyes, I feel like I've done my job, Les.
Well, you know why
Amen.
Every great society has failed. You had all kind of. You had Alexander the Great. You had Persians, you had the Greeks, you had the Roman Empire.
Hitler.
Well, all your great empires.
Well, it wasn't great, but yeah.
Well,
Napoleon.
They was either overrun by a bigger military, or they quit doing what they was doing that made them great, and they fell.
Or overextended themselves, fighting too many fronts.
Right. Well, and not only that, allowing massive
genocide
immigrants. That's how your Roman Empire fell.
Well, I'll tell you, Britain's getting ready to fall right now. Germany again. They're going to have to clean that up over in Europe right now, guys. That's a big problem.
Well, that's going to overwhelm your your finances. I think the Western Roman Empire fell because of that. But anyway, let me read this right here. Back to 9/11 real quick, Donald.
Go ahead. It's 9/11, but it's 17th anniversary. Go ahead.
Well, there was 343 firefighters killed that day.
Yeah, they ran into the fire. Fire.
That's right, when they collapsed. 70 law enforcement officers died, and 9 EMSs lost their lives at Ground Zero.
They didn't want to die, Les, but they did what they had to do. They were Americans, brother.
Let me tell you something, Donald. It was Muslims that killed them. It was Muslims. There was all kind of religions, all kind of races of people died on 9/11. There was even probably some Muslims died in them.
Oh, I'd say there was.
But it was done by Muslim extremists, Donald.
Yeah, with box knives.
Done by terrorists.
How do you get in the most powerful country in the world and use carpenter's knife? What do you call them? Box cutters.
Yeah.
And attack the greatest country in the world. But who? George Bush. And you remember when they told him when he was sitting in that classroom that stupid expression on his face?
Yeah.
Then they took him to some secure bunker and hit him while we was all out here wondering where the president was.
He had his hands full, I'll give him that. But now, these pilots that done that was trained right down there in Florida, in a flight school in Florida.
Right here in America.
We had fallen asleep. We had relaxed all of our security. We quit doing what kept us safe. We lightened up. Now, you know what really shocked me? You know what really upset me? Was not long after that, we elected a guy with the middle name Hussein.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's what I couldn't.
Me more than anything, more than him being a liberal, because I knew he had ties to the Muslims.
That's what I was going to ask you and Joe. Do you guys believe
Muslim school in Indonesia?
Joe, do you think Barack Obama is part Muslim, Joe?
I don't know the guy, so I don't really. I think that's a very personal question. You'd have to know somebody to make that kind of assertion. I know that he himself actually joked around on the day of 9/11. He says that because of the name similarity, he said, "There goes my shot at the presidency."
Well, I'll tell you, man.
Gone his shot. I tell you what. You research people. You get in there and you study and you dig, and you'll find out the truth about some people. He's
well, you guys.
That's just that simple. That's the facts. His name's on a Muslim school roll.
But the bad thing, his name. The bad thing about this whole Obama presidency, his name is going to go down in history as one of our presidents. It will go down in history. Barack Hussein Obama. It is a shame, and I don't care about the color of his frickin' skin. I don't have nothing to do with it. But you know what? They always said that we had the first black president. They never did want to say he was not full black. He was a half white, half black. He wasn't a black man or a white man. He was half. Why did they say we had a first black president when we didn't, though?
Well, we live in a society where you can claim to be a female if you're a male, so that explains.
Well, I bet you Kenya is a lot better off today than what it was before Barack Hussein Obama became president. I bet they're more wealthier today than what they was before he became president.
Joe Arpaio and Mike Zulu dug up the truth about his birth certificate. Go and research it.
Boy, Trump was on that for a while, wasn't he? He was hitting him hard on that one.
They proved the man's birth certificate is a forgery.
Oh, you're talking about that Sheriff Joe?
Yes. They even know where the information come from, whose birth certificate that stuff come from.
Well, you know that governor of Hawaii. That governor down there.
In prison.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, I don't believe he was born here or Hawaii.
Born here.
No, he should not have been. Unless there's only, 3 or 4 things that make you qualify to be president. Ain't one of them since you got to be born in America?
You got to be born in America and be 35 years or older. That's
And
all.
I think you have to live. I think you have to live here for the last 5 years too, though. You can't be out of country for the last 5 years, something like that. I think there's 3. But anyway, guys, Brett Kavanaugh. Let's talk about Brett Kavanaugh for a little bit. The confirmation hearings are over, guys. They said it'll be about 2 weeks. I guess they're going to come back and vote. And I think he's going to be. I think he's going to get nominated. You know what though?
I think so.
Here's
too.
the thing: it's majority wins, right? But even if some of the Republicans flip and vote no, and it's a tie, you guys know who gets to break that tie, don't you?
The vice president.
The vice president. So I don't think he's going to vote no for Brett Kavanaugh.
Right.
Now, both of you guys, this stuff, like I was telling you earlier, about people saying that our vice president, I mean, come on. I'm still shocked about somebody saying Vice President Mike Pence is a pedophile. That sickens me, man. That's still bothering me right now. It is, you guys. It really is.
Well,
yeah, that's crazy.
That Q... I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. Before the show ends, I kind of wanted to change the subject. If you guys are
go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you guys hear about the... Okay, yeah. Did you guys hear about the Serena Williams thing?
Oh, my, yeah. You believe that?
No. What's that about?
So Serena Williams...
Should have sent it to me, Joe.
What? Oh, I guess I should have. They I forget what they call it. The U.S. Open, I think. And it was the final match of the U.S. Open, and Serena Williams was playing a young lady named Naomi Osaka, and she was throwing temper tantrums left and right on the court about how the umpires were
Is that the one that was yelling at the umpire, screaming?
Yeah.
I seen something. Yeah, I did hear about that.
And they were both... You know, is a woman's league. They're both women, and she was telling the umpire that he was sexist and that she was standing up for women's rights by throwing a temper tantrum. And they, when this Naomi Osaka won, she was the first Japanese person to have ever won this award. And when they awarded her the award at the awards ceremony, the whole crowd booed her out, and they made her cry.
Really?
That was sad, Joe.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Serena took her glory from her with them outbursts, and about 4 or 5 years ago, Sabrina, and I always love to watch. I hate tennis, but I love to watch the women.
I don't like it either
because they are dominant.
Now, wasn't they 2 black girls, them sisters? Okay.
Well, they played against each other, and Sabrina beat Venus. And, yeah, Joe, that was sad. And she even called him a thief, a crook or a thief.
Yeah.
You can't even play sports anymore.
She got fined $17,000 for that. But a few years ago, she threatened to cram a ball down one of them's throat.
Oh, gosh. Why don't they just fire her?
This girl was beating her brains out, and she didn't know how to handle it.
Hey.
And actually, afterwards, her coach admitted that they were, in fact, cheating.
Well, you guys...
Is that right?
Oh, that's just terrible.
He said basically it's such a small violation that all the teams do it, but when you get called out on it, you accept the penalty and you go on. You know, you don't make a big deal out of it.
Right. Yeah, she blew a gasket, man. But it robbed the Osaka girl, whatever her name was. It robbed her from her moment in history.
It did.
You know.
Hey,
and speaking of Venus Williams, actually, I think that's kind of relevant. A story involving her is kind of relevant again because last week we were talking about the guy who said let's not monkey this up, and it was a big deal. Yeah, well, I think it was in like 2013 or something. Some ESPN reporter was talking about Venus Williams, and he said that she uses guerrilla tactics, which is a pretty common phrase.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna get him.
He not only did the media explode about it, he got fired. He got fired for saying guerrilla tactics because he was talking about a black
That's
man.
well, the monkey. Look at the monkey comment that was
If he'd have
made.
been a black man, there wouldn't have been a word said about it, Joe.
Hey, fellas, something happened locally, and I think we need to bring it up tonight. And I hope, Les, I didn't send you or Joe the article, but locally, there's a girl that I think she went to Carlisle High School, wasn't it? Yeah, and she was being bullied, and the girl hung herself. Now, and they said, my wife just told me that tonight at midnight they're going to pull the plug on this poor. She was a beautiful girl, but you guys, I've always been the one that I don't like bullying people. I think it's wrong, and I just think I tell my grandkids if they ever see a kid getting picked on, please take up for that kid. Be nice to them. Tell them you'll be there for them. But these kids, I mean, they can be mean, Les and Joe. They can be mean, and you guys heard about that, right?
I heard about that.
I didn't hear about it.
Right here in Carlisle, right where we live.
Just
Just
14 years old, yeah.
beautiful little girl. Now they're going to pull the plug on her tonight just because she got picked on in school by bullies.
Well, you know, and there's a whole lot of failures there. There's a litany of things.
Oh,
that
it
went
burst me up.
wrong.
Parents, where was the parents? Where was the school that?
Somebody knew about that. The
Friends.
teachers knew about it. Principals knew about it. Parents of the girls that was bullying her knew about it.
Les, it's an evil world, Joe. Joe, Les, it's getting evil out there, you guys.
Like I said, you don't teach morals. You don't teach the right and wrong. What do you expect? What do you expect? You know?
Well, what do you expect? Like Rosie O'Donnell and Hillary Clinton, they're so worried about Brett Kavanaugh getting on the Supreme Court bench. All they care about he's going to reverse Roe v. Wade. That's some sick, evil, twisted people.
Well, some of the greatest people in history, okay, never stepped foot in a church, but they had good morals and they was good leaders and they was honest people. Like I've always said, you know, that right and wrong, that's common sense.
Will you both agree with me that God is using President Trump? Can you guys both agree with me on that?
There's no doubt in my mind.
Joe?
I'll agree with that.
I mean, I think God chooses people just like he did with Moses. I mean, Moses wasn't a perfect man, but God chose him, didn't he?
Ever since God created man, he's always included man in the plan.
Man in the plan, and Trump was the man.
If it was left up to man to be perfect or God wouldn't use him, we wouldn't be here today.
All right, we got the minute wrap up. I'm just gonna say God bless America. I support our president. God bless everybody out there listening. Joe, if you want to finish it off, go ahead.
All right, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Glad to be here. Our hearts and prayers go out to all the victims and the families of the victims of the attacks on 9/11, and we hope everybody has a good night.
Play it, Jimmy. We're not going to take it. Play it, brother. We're out of here.